Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Triangulation is brought to you by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
It's time for Twit's annual audience survey, and we want to hear from you. Please visit twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. It only takes a few minutes, and your anonymous feedback will help us make Twit even better. We thank you so much for your continued support. twit.tv/survey. This is Triangulation, episode 193, recorded Monday, March 23rd, 2015. Bill Harris. Triangulation is brought to you by lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/triangulation. That's LYNDA.com/triangulation. And by Ring Central, the business phone system that's in the cloud. Ring Central now integrates with Google for Work. Try Ring Central with a 30-day risk-free trial at ringcentral.com or call 800-543-9980 and use the promo code TWIT. And by SmartThings. SmartThings lets you monitor, control, and automate your home from wherever you are using your smartphone. Right now, SmartThings is offering Triangulation listeners 10% off any home security or solution kits and get free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/twit and use the offer code TWIT at checkout. It's time for Triangulation, the show where we get together with some of the smartest people in technology and learn, and it's so much fun, and I'm so glad you're here for today. This is part 2 of an interview because I screwed up the first one. A couple of years ago, I interviewed Bill Harris. You may know him now as a CEO and founder of Personal Capital. But we talked a lot about, welcome, Bill. It's great to have you back. We talked a lot about the Intuit days and about finance and about money. But then I realized we'd missed all of the early stuff. And you have some great stories to tell about, for instance, founding PayPal with Elon Musk. Yeah. About working, starting kind of journalism in the digital era, kind of getting magazines like the what was it, U.S. News and World Report? That you worked at?
I was there and at Time Inc. and
facing and the Time Inc. facing that digital challenge.
Yeah.
And so I thought, let's get him back. Let's talk some more. Disclaimer: we should say Personal Capital, his company, is a sponsor of some of our shows, including this show very often.
Yeah. By the way, that was against my better judgment.
Well, I hope you don't regret it, but we'll take the money anyway. No, we appreciate the support. Actually, at the time, you had just started, I think, Personal Capital last time.
Yeah, we just launched.
Well, and you were, was this a hobby thing? Because obviously, okay, I'll be blunt. You made enough money probably from PayPal and then CEO of Intuit. You didn't have to work. You could have spent the time on the slopes.
But which I do. I mean, I was on the slopes.
You're
just
a pilot
this weekend.
too, which is cool.
I'm a pilot as well. But you know, there's nothing more fun than building new stuff. And there's never been a time in the history of man when it's been easier and more appealing to build new stuff.
That's really true. I mean, partly because a guy can get out, or a gal can get out of college, and with the platforms that are out there now for just a very low cost, create a new app or a new
build
website.
Something, throw it up on Amazon, you got a business.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
But the other part that's even more important, it's the adoption. It's the adoption of the technology. I mean, all of a sudden, it's just hit critical mass. Everybody's got a smartphone. Everybody's got a couple of tablets. Everybody's, you know, and people are living multi-screen lives. And it's changing everything.
Do you think that's going to slow down once we get saturation? Or is it continuing to accelerate? What's your experience?
I don't know. The experience has been this thing just continues to accelerate. It's amazing. And every time when we get to a certain point, we say, well, gosh, what could possibly happen from here? Right. Then boom.
There's the next thing.
The next thing.
Next thing is watches. In fact, actually, it's cool because you guys already do an Android Wear version.
We do an Android watch. We're going to be...
you do the Apple Watch?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got a fabulous... You should, you know, as soon as the Apple Watch comes out, download our app. It's fantastic.
That's a challenge, though, because you cannot, and on Android Wear, you obviously, one of the things about personal capital is the display and all the graphs and stuff. And you can't put that on a small screen.
No, but you can put the information you need about your financial life, the things that are going on right now. Bang! It's you know, what's happening in the market. What did I just spend on my credit card? How much money do I have?
So it's alert focused.
It's well, alert focused, and it's for bite-sized interactions with your money.
Right. Bite-sized. I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's part of, and I know that's one of the things you solve with personal capital is that people kind of put their money in the thing, an investment or an account, and just forget about it. Just go, yeah, see you later. I'll call you in 50 years when I retire. And obviously that's not the right thing to do. But I don't want to get into personal capital because I want to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
What did you study in school? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, well, so I went to a liberal arts school, and I took that seriously. You know, the great thing about liberal arts is getting a little bit of everything.
Right.
So
I tell my kids that too.
Yes, it's so valuable.
Don't focus too soon because you won't see all the possibilities.
Yeah. So what I did was American Studies.
Yeah.
Which is
that's as general as
license to kill. I mean, everything. And I did a little bit of everything.
Was that something that I said, I'm interested in this, so I'm going to just do it? Your parents must have been pretty understanding. They didn't say, you've got to go out and learn how to be a carpenter.
Right. Well, Dad was a doctor, and he didn't say I need to go be a doctor. Yeah. So
that's nice. You didn't feel pressure to get the medicine.
No, he's a damn good doctor, too. World's best hip surgeon.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not still practicing.
Well, he still does research and
no kidding.
And speaks.
That's great.
He no longer does surgery.
What hospital was he at?
Mass General.
Oh, that's a great hospital.
Yeah.
Saved my mother's life.
Is that right?
She had a brain tumor and passed out, and we have my cousin is a surgeon at Mass General.
No kidding.
Got her right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great care.
Great hospital.
Great care.
Yeah.
So my dad invented a hip prosthesis, a artificial hip that you embed. And for 40 years, it was the leading seller in the world. You
know what's interesting is often the people sitting in this seat are tinkerers, or their parents were their dads were, they went in the garage.
Yes.
And they kind of got the sense that they could do stuff, they could build stuff.
Exactly.
Was it like that for you?
Completely.
I think there's something about that. That you're taught at a young age not to be a consumer, but to be a creator. So
my dad, he had the goofiest things. He built a tennis practice thing in the backyard, which was this thing. It was a rope suspended with a pipe so it wouldn't fly over, and then the tennis ball. And
he was an inventor.
Yeah, he also invented. He put on a tennis racket. He put a little bulge so that you could, grip it. Then he decided that's not good enough, and then he put a bunch of polyethylene on the thing, and then you would grab it and make an imprint of your hand.
Right.
And then he would, sand it down.
Did he enlist you in these projects?
Oh yeah, no, the whole family. We were doing these crazy things. It was so much fun.
But I think that I do believe there's something to that, because then you have at a young age the sense that I can do this, I can do something.
Yeah.
I can create.
And the sense that just because a thing is done a certain way and always has been, it doesn't have to be done that way.
That's the hacker ethic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I can get my hand. Steve Jobs said that. He said, I don't want to live in a world where it's done. I want to be able to change things. He said you can't assume that and I think people do this kind of subconsciously, that the people who preceded me are smarter than me and they figured this all out, so it's done.
Right.
He says you should assume you've got a better way, that you're smarter than them.
Here's what I've observed. Innovation in this business in the Valley, where does it come from? It does not come from people who've been doing it for 20 years.
Absolutely not, right.
But it also doesn't come from people who've never had anything at all.
Right.
If you are in an adjacency so that you know enough about whatever it is that you're innovating on, but you haven't spent your career doing it a certain way, that's, I think, the magic formula. Because
you can bring a new spark, a new idea to it.
Yeah.
But you have to know it well enough to know what's working, what's not working, where innovation needs to occur.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. So your American Studies major, where were you a student?
Middlebury College.
Beautiful. Vermont?
Yeah. So what I did, I grew up in Boston, took a map of the Northeast, circled all the decent colleges in green, all the great ski areas in red.
Oh, no, you were a skier then.
Yeah, an idiot could have made the decision.
Middlebury.
Boom, Middlebury College.
Nowhere better.
Yeah.
A great school.
Yeah.
Graduated from American Studies. That's actually a really good major at Middlebury, I think.
It's great,
Yeah. And then you had to get a job.
Oh, well, I went to business school first.
So you said, I'm going to study business too.
Yeah.
That was probably a smart move.
Yeah.
Get a skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
here
what in mind? Did you want to become a manager? What were you thinking?
Well, so I had been doing this kind of stuff. I mean, when I was really young, I had a lawn mowing company, and then I had a house painting company, and then I had a this and that
That's another
company.
common thread.
Yeah.
Is that as a young person, you already had businesses.
Right.
You already were doing stuff. Wow.
Signed up all of my friends, you know. We cut every damn lawn in the town.
You were a macher even back then.
Here's the thing.
You were doing it.
Yeah, and so I was not 16, so I didn't have my license. But I had all these people and lawnmowers that I had to get all over the place.
Yeah.
And so I enlisted my mother. And so I gave her, like, you know, a list of who has to go where at what time all day long.
She was driving them around?
Oh, yeah, driving everybody around.
She was very cooperative.
She was great.
Do you remember the name of the company?
I think we called it Have Mom Will Travel.
He arrives with a kid in a lawnmower. Here we are.
No, actually, I did have a name. It was called Greensward.
Oh,
Greensward.
Yeah.
So it's a play on green sword, cutting the grass, but it was also the greensward is a beautiful...
like a lawn, like a gorgeous lawn.
Out in front of a castle.
That's a very nice name for a young man to come up with.
Yeah, I know.
It was certain.
I had business cards, the whole thing. I mean, who wants a business card from the guy who's cutting your grass? But, you know, we did it.
Again, it's a very common thread. And was that because, what was it that motivated you as a kid? Was it because I need money, I want money? Was it money that motivated you? What was it?
No, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't money.
You felt like doing it?
Yeah.
You wanted to be a captain of industry?
You know, I don't know.
But it was just a natural thing.
Yeah.
See, I'm always, one of the things I like to do in this show is try to understand where people like you, where innovators come from. And I think that that's fascinating. That there is a certain environment that nurtures that, but there's also is it a gene or whatever, but there's a little bug in there that makes you want to start building businesses, that makes you want to create things.
Yeah. You know,
and you obviously had that as a youth.
Part of it is maybe just trying to want to do something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. It's that same thing of reinventing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that spark, then you could be really smart. You can go to school and you can do real well and all that stuff, but you're just doing sort of what you're programmed to do.
Somebody else's thing.
Right.
I'm going to get the gold watch in 50 years and
right.
I'll be happy.
Or the Apple Watch in 50 years.
Or the Apple Watch, yeah, maybe.
But here's the cool thing. So I went to business school, and they had a Funny Faces book. This was back before the internet and everything else. So it was all paper, all printed. So they had everybody's photograph, you know, the incoming class.
Oh, yeah. They called it at Harvard the Facebook.
Eventually, yes.
No, but even before he made it, that's what it was called. Because it was, if you're a freshman, we had it at Yale too. Yeah. If you're a freshman, you want to get to know all your classmates, right? So you have and you look for the good-looking girls, and you get to know them.
Really? Does your wife know this?
She wasn't around back then.
So,
you called it the funny book?
We called it Funny Faces.
Funny Faces.
Yeah. And this was at Harvard, but it was at the business school, so maybe at the...
oh, I thought that, I'm pretty sure that undergraduate they called it the Facebook.
Facebook,
yeah.
Okay.
But I might be wrong on that.
I'm sure you're right. So it's the picture and your name and where you went to college, Middlebury, and then your major in college. And so they didn't have enough room to put American Studies, so they abbreviated it. It came out American Stud. American Stud. I am so proud of that.
You couldn't have asked for more.
I know.
Thank you, editors of the Harvard Funny Faces. That's great. Yeah. So you thought, I'm going to learn about business. Why? You
know, gosh.
I love it, American Stud. You should still be on your business card, I think.
I think it should. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's not enough room.
Yeah, exactly. The card is so small, just American Stud. Why? I just, building stuff, doing stuff, that's all.
Yeah.
Like today, I have all these crazy things written down. You know, I've got a prefab hotel thing that I think would be cool.
So you like have ideas constantly flowing out of you.
Yeah.
Prefab hotel.
Yeah. You build it all. You build it all the size of a. You build each room the size of a container.
Yeah.
And so then you can just
add rooms.
Yeah.
It's modular.
You build them. Yes. You build them one place.
Yeah.
And then you just truck them and stack them up like Legos, and you know.
But you make them nice.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh no, these would be cool.
Where's the halls?
Well, you stack them like this, so the hall's in the middle.
I've seen actually there is a style of container architecture. I've seen in houses or something.
Yes, but you know what they're doing is more the aesthetic.
They're taking a container.
They're taking a container and they're making it look like a container. These look nothing like containers.
You don't know it's modular.
No. This would be beautiful, complete glass all the way around.
Okay. This is good. Now give us a little class. I have this idea. What would your next step be if you wanted to make this a business?
Well, I do want to make it a business, and one of these days I am going to. Right now I've just got PowerPoint sketches, but...
so you'll start to kind of brainstorm around it.
Yeah. And so what...
do you immediately go to what's the business model? You don't want to waste energy on something that has no sensible business model.
Right. So the thing about this is it's very compact as well. It's twice the people in half the space. It's rather than spending 18 months in construction, you're spending 3 months in construction.
Right.
I figure I've got a good friend who runs a hotel group, the Kimpton Group, and
great hotel group.
Great hotels, yeah. And so he talks about hundreds of thousands of dollars per constructed room when you're putting a hotel together.
Wow.
I think I could bring this in for maybe $30,000 or $40,000 per room.
Now, your next step would be to figure out, is there a demand for hotel rooms? I mean, there could be an issue. I've gone to towns where the hotels are mostly vacant.
Yeah.
So where is there a demand for hotel rooms?
Lots of places. But where I really want to put these things is right in airports.
Ah, thank you.
Not off.
No, in airport hotels.
In the airport, you don't have to go, you don't have to get
so much
the
nicer.
shuttle.
A few airports have that.
Yeah.
I think Oslo does. It's nice. You just
Dubai has the greatest.
Nice hotel.
Yeah.
And then you walk to your plane.
Right.
We did that in Oslo. It was the strangest experience.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're here. We're talking to Bill Harris. He is the CEO and founder of Personal Capital.
Yes.
But also is former CEO of Intuit. And I want to talk a little bit about the early days at PayPal.
Yeah.
Founder at PayPal. And your good, close personal friend, Elon Musk. Oh, I don't know how deep I should get into that one.
We'll do it.
All right.
Yeah.
You said you would.
Yeah.
I'm holding you to that. Bill's here. And a disclaimer, Personal Capital is a sponsor of Twit. So thank you for that.
Well, we were. After this interview, I'm not sure.
Never again.
I don't think
They're
so.
gone?
I don't think so.
That's okay. Because that's okay. There's a division. Actually, you know a little bit about this.
Church and state. The notion of church and state was invented at Time Magazine.
I want to ask you about that, because that's really important, especially to our business.
It's been abandoned. It has been abandoned in the internet age.
With native content that you can't tell.
Yeah, it's miserable stuff.
Well, good. I want you to talk to me about that and school me a little bit.
All right.
Because I would like to really preserve that, and I think it is disappearing.
Yeah.
Lots more to come in just a second. This is going to be a 5-hour interview. I hope you don't mind, Bill. You got nothing to do.
No, I really don't.
Yeah, oh, sure.
When you get to be my age, you know.
The plane is outside running, practically. It's practically running. I can hear the prop. Just ready. Come on, Bill. We got to go. Yeah. Bill Harris.
No, that's the great thing about having the plane out
there.
You
can do it
because
anytime.
I can stay as long as you want.
Yeah, and you could say, hey, it was air traffic control. There was a cloud. I couldn't take off. Did you fly the plane yourself?
No.
You have a person with you, but you're going to be able to. Oh, you got an interesting plane coming.
I do.
This summer.
Yeah, so I'll do a plug for my friend Kirk Hawkins. He has invented this thing called the Icon. Anybody out there, take a look at iconaircraft.com. It is the
ICON?
ICON. It is the coolest airplane ever imagined. It's a single prop push plane.
So the prop's in the back,
in the back. So you've got this huge, beautiful canopy.
Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, there it is. Excellent. That's with the wings folded up so that you can trailer it. There it is. Now look at this. Now
you can land on water.
It's water. It's land. It's the whole thing.
Wow. And you can put it on your little trailer.
Yeah.
No airport necessary.
Right.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the quick story there is, and this goes back to the tinkering and the gadgets and all the rest of that. So Kirk Hawkins was 8 years a Navy pilot, and then he went to Stanford Business School. And when he was at Stanford Business School, the FAA came along and started this new type class of aircraft called sport recreational aircraft. Tiny little things, two-seaters, lightweight, slow. You can only drive them during the day in good weather, and made for weekend warriors, but made for people who just want to have fun. And he said, bingo, that's me. And
nobody was making these yet.
Nobody. So this is a brand new thing. It was 5 years ago, and he, did a business plan, started the company, and he's just about to have the first production units roll off the line.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
We didn't finish the business plan for the modular hotel, so I want to get to that too when we come back. But I have to tell everybody about lynda.com, which is a great story.
It is, by the way.
Do you know Lynda One?
I use it, me personally.
Of course you do.
And in fact, the next step in the business plan is to use tools, modeling, 3D modeling tools in order to sort of go from PowerPoint to a real thing. Well, where am I learning those modeling tools? I do Lynda.
You're not going to do that yourself, are you?
Yeah.
See, I love that. That's cool. Lynda is a place to learn. It's for people like you, people like me, people who always want to be learning. You don't want to really stop the learning. Now, there's lots of reasons you might do that. You do it because you want to get better at your job or get a promotion, or you do it for your hobby. I love photography. I want to get better at photography. Lynda.com has 3,000 plus courses in every facet of technology, photography, marketing, business. They actually have a lot of soft business skills they've added, including negotiating and resume building. It's for the curious, the problem solvers, people who want to make things happen. Maybe that's you. If you want to take better photos or build a website or boost your productivity, if you want to sharpen your Photoshop skills. The thing that's cool about lynda.com is the best teacher. So if you're learning Photoshop or photography, you're learning it from a practicing professional who really knows her stuff and it happens to be a really great teacher. And Lynda produces this in such a way that these courses are fun to watch. They're chopped up into small chunks, so you can learn a little bit at a time. You can learn it on your desktop or your tablet or your phone. You can take it with you, on Android, iOS. They have, I mean, it is just fantastic. You want to learn how to become a developer?
They have an Apple Watch. Wouldn't that be cool?
They will have an Apple Watch, absolutely.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, they have Swift programming right now. What they do with developers is they start with somebody who knows nothing about programming and then to professional developers, and they cover the full range. And they're working with manufacturers, so I guarantee you they're working right now with Apple on the Apple Watch SDK to have some training for that. And wouldn't that be a good thing to know right now?
That would be cool.
You can't yet put your own standalone app on an Apple Watch. It has to be an iPhone app that's developed, but that's coming this fall. Now's the time that you start getting those skills prepared so you're ready with the app when the watch can go, there's an app store, boom, you're the first in the store, always good. Learn about things like the Android Studio Essential Training, Swift Essential Training. Here's a great course for beginning programmers, building a note-taking app for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. So you will learn about each platform from start to finish. You'll learn about all the differences. I love lynda.com. For me, it's photography and Lightroom, programming too, because I love doing that. This is a great app, a great course with David Gassner, building the note-taking app. I just love this. So here's the deal. Basically you pay once a month, or you can get a yearly subscription, and you have access to everything. You don't have to decide now. It's like an American Studies degree. You don't have to decide now. You can take anything.
Yes.
The world is your oyster.
Go to lynda.com and become an American stud.
This is how or if you're watching, because half a third of our audience is outside the U.S., you could become an Austrian stud or a Norwegian stud, whatever you wish.
Or a studess.
Or a stud. I don't know. I think you could be a stud if you're a boy or a girl.
Okay.
I'm going to say that. I'm going to declare that now. Right. Download these tutorials and watch them on the go to lynda.com, lynda.com. We've set up a 10-day free trial for you. That's enough to really sample a couple of courses. LYND, or more if you're ambitious, lynda.com/triangulation. If you don't yet have a Lynda subscription, do this 10-day trial because you're really going to find a wealth of information and knowledge. lynda.com/triangulation. We love Linda Wyman and we thank her so much for her support. Oh, yeah, there's a gnat in here. It's the worst thing.
Did you see Obama? He was in a live interview. Bang! Nailed it.
That's a skill.
Yeah.
It's like the tailor, 12 with one blow. It's like the tailor of Gloucester.
That's like when he was campaigning and he was in Baghdad or something like that, and he went out on the basketball court, and from the three-point line.
Mad skills. Mad skills.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
So I tell you what.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about the hotel and everything else, but we're going to talk, and it'll be over.
I know. There'll be no time, so you have to come back a third time.
So I need to just say a quick word about personal capital.
Okay.
Because everybody out there needs it.
Yes.
So personal capital started 5 years ago. It was basically to help people get a control of their money.
Yeah.
And their financial life. And so what we do is we go out.
How did you have that idea?
Well, because I've been 20 years building financial software.
Right.
And finally dawned on me, Jesus, we're not really solving the problem.
Because the problem is not the software.
Right.
It's the people.
Right. The problem is that Americans are living unexamined financial lives.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they own, what they owe, what the future looks like.
Yeah. And we're just kind of hoping.
Yeah.
It's going to all work out.
And it's too important to do that.
Don't screw around.
So we've got this software that pulls all of your information together, puts it in one place, allows you to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Push-button analytics that let you understand what's going on. Financial planning, good, easy, powerful financial planning to let you make a plan.
Right.
And then we implement for you.
Yeah, is that new, the idea that you can open an account there and start investing, or was that always part of the...
Always part of it.
That was always...
That's essentially, the software is completely free.
Right.
Anybody can use it.
But that's,
the way we make
the entry drug.
That's the entry. The way we make our money is that some number of the people who use the software say, hey, why don't you help me manage my money?
Such a good model. We've had Phil Lieben here of Evernote.
Yeah.
It's essentially that freemium model.
Yeah.
And you don't have to convert 100%. You don't even convert 10. Whatever number you convert, you figure this out ahead of time. Phil's very happy with the fact that give away Evernote.
Right.
But a certain number will convert. In fact, what happens, what he's observed, I bet you observe this too, is that people convert also because they just love it. They love the experience.
That's right.
And they kind of want to keep it going.
Well,
it's like I want to support it almost.
Some of it's that, but even more in our case, even more important is that with usage of the software,
they realize what they need.
They gain trust.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because I'll tell you what, this is something that I know a lot of people, especially in this day and age, are very nervous about privacy. They're very nervous about security. And the first thing you do, and I had this experience with Mint, the first thing you do is you sit down and you go, wait a minute, you want all my credit card numbers and my bank account numbers and my passwords?
Right.
That stops people.
Right, and so for people who are, the reason we do that is because we need those credentials in order to go get the data and bring it all into the place.
Reassure me that it's safe.
Well, I tell you what, it is, by doing so, you are making yourself safer. The reason is this, because now you've got a way so that every day you will get pinged with, or you can if you want, get pinged with every single transaction that's happened in every one of your accounts.
Yeah.
And so...
so if there's fraud or something going on, or
you know it
immediately.
And if you don't, you're not going to know it for a month or 2 months until the statement comes and all the rest.
There is an issue of trust, though. The people have to trust you.
They do.
And nowadays, I think people are less trusting than they were. When the internet first started, it was like, yeah, baby. And I think that we've all learned, we look at the thing, what's the Anthem breach and the Target breach, and we're starting to worry a little bit.
Here's the thing, there is the worry, but if there is real benefit, people will do it.
Right.
And there is real benefit to this. And let me just tell you on the security side, so I've been doing financial...
Do you store the credentials?
No, we store them at a partner site, Yodlee. I'm on the board of Yodlee.
That's what Mint uses, is Yodlee.
They used to. Intuit bought Mint, and then
now they're doing their own thing.
Now they're doing their own thing. But
we loved it because Yodlee already knows all your credentials, right? Because the banks use Yodlee.
Well, in a way, yes.
They're a provider for more than just...
Exactly. And in fact, I'm on the risk committee at Yodlee, and we go through every kind of government certification and all the rest. So it's very safe.
I wish Anthem would do that. I wish some of these other people would do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're not. Yeah,
so
you can trust Yodlee. Yodlee's had your credentials for a long time, in many cases.
That's right. Also, you know, I've been doing financial technology for a long time. Increasingly, doing an actual financial transaction, it becomes trivial. Easier and easier all the time.
Yeah.
The hard part is knowing that the instruction you're receiving remotely is legitimate.
Authentication.
Authentication.
Yeah, we talked about that
I've started
last time.
3 authentication companies.
Yeah.
And so...
and it's getting better, isn't it, because of Touch ID? Do you like Touch ID?
I love Touch ID.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, I love the phone, the smartphone. Because what you want to do in authentication, you want to combine multiple factors.
Right.
The factors are something you know, like a password, something you have, like a telephone or a driver's license, and something you are, a biometric. Right. And now all of a sudden with phones sitting in people's pockets, you can put your password in there. Yeah. You can identify this specific phone so that you know that they have the thing, the token. And if you want to, you can even do biometrics. You can do a voice print.
Yeah, Microsoft Hello now is very exciting. In Windows 10, they're adding biometrics to Windows 10. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have iris capability. I mean, you'll have to have the hardware, obviously, but they'll have iris capability. If you have the right kind of camera, you'll be able to do facial recognition.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you have to add hardware and all that kind of stuff, it's dead on arrival.
We already have phones.
The great thing is the phone's already there, and it can do it all today.
You got to love it that Apple's given now, 75 million people fingerprint readers.
It's great.
And Samsung's about to, well, actually Samsung's already doing it, but they're about to really improve that. I think that's fabulous.
It's great, and we use the Touch ID.
We
use the Touch ID at Personal Capital. We've got more people using our stuff on mobile than we do on web.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Not surprising, but that's kind of confirming.
So the thing is just blowing up. We've got 750,000 registered users of the software.
Now you know that that's because of us.
Well, yes. and the reason that I'm canceling our sponsorship is that we just...
You're done.
We're done. We don't have any left.
No more needed.
Right.
Yeah. We've used up all the bits.
Those users, for those users, we are tracking $150 billion of assets.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That really is amazing. I'm not going to ask you the details of what percentage convert to the investing.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So it happens over time. And so within the first, so if you come on and start using the software.
Trust thing. You have to build that sense of, oh, I get it. It's working for me. I like it.
Exactly. So in the first couple of months, we get about 1%. And then it grows after about 2.5 years, it grows to 5%. And that's about all the history we have. We hope it'll continue to go from there.
That's about what Phil is reporting too at Evernote. It's not like a huge, like 50%. It doesn't need to be.
Right.
And boy, we live in a very interesting time for an entrepreneur, for an inventor. So just a quick we're getting a quick course from a Harvard Business School here. Although it's changed since you went to school, hasn't it? You know, you don't have to do the paper spreadsheets anymore. So you're going to actually do the 3D models. Why? Is that so that you can kind of verify to yourself that this is doable?
Well, it's really, the issue is to translate the idea into something. And so you could yap and yap and yap and tell somebody sort of what you're thinking.
Right.
But if you have this, to the extent that you can just get really hands-on and have a way to express directly what's in your head, then with a 3D model, I can give it to some people who can go do a prototype.
And will you build a model?
Yeah, we'll build a tiny model first with 3D printing, and then we'll do a full-scale model with at a CNC shop. Yeah. And then...
Isn't that amazing, though? Even the 3D printing step has gotten so much more affordable and easy and cheaper.
Yes.
Used to be Ford had to do it. Now you can, or Boeing or somebody.
Right, exactly.
Now you can do it on your desk.
Exactly.
It's really an exciting time.
There's a great place called Tech Shop. Do you know Tech Shop?
Yes, we love Tech Shop.
Yeah.
That's where Square was first prototyped.
Is that right?
Yeah. Jack Dorsey goes in there and says, I had this idea. Let's try building this. Do you go into Tech Shop?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, yeah. I take my kid.
Yeah, what a great thing.
Yeah.
You're a physicist?
Yeah. And so my son is a physicist, astrophysics. My daughter is a civil engineer. So both of us love this. All three of us love this stuff.
And I think that goes back to your dad.
Yeah.
In the workshop building the tennis grip.
Right.
It just kind of continues on down. I think that's so great. All right, I want to talk about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But first, see how I'm doing this? I'm going to tease this.
Yeah, you're
If this
good.
were your ad could be right here.
Yeah, but we've canceled the schedule, so it's...
Our show, he's joking, I hope. This show brought to you, you see Lisa sits, isn't this interesting? My boss sits right across. Would you ever do this to your employee? Have a window where they work and stare at you?
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I think I'll...
And if I say something bad, watch, she's going to start shaking her head or waving her finger at me. No, she's not paying any attention.
Not paying any
she's
attention.
apparently doing something else. That's even worse.
I know.
She's having fun.
listen, you got married to her,
Yeah.
so of course she's not paying any attention
Now
to
she
you
doesn't
anymore.
have to.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, there's a story. Our show today brought to you by Ring Central. Actually, this is another. I love our sponsors, and often our sponsors seem to be non-technical, right? We have underwear and clothes and stuff. But in every case, these are businesses that wouldn't have existed pre-internet.
Right.
Ring Central is an example of what was a terrible experience for years, and I've done this, where you get a PBX, you go to the phone company, and you say, I need a business phone system. They go, oh, yeah, great, here, sign right here. And they put a thing in your basement, and there's a technician coming out every day practically. You want to change one thing, it's a big deal. Ring Central takes that all away. No PBX, it's all in the cloud. You configure it if through a website. It couldn't be easier. When we add a new employee, they get the phone, they plug it in, they're done. We add them to the phone tree. It's so simple to do, and it starts at $25 per employee per month, and that includes a big pile of minutes. They get faxing. They can, and our employees love it because they're technically literate. They can use their smartphones or the Ring Central app. They can make phone calls from the business number on their smartphone. They can send and receive texts to the business number on their smartphone. And now, with Ring Central for Google, it's all included. We're a big Google house. We use Google Apps, Google for Work, and this is great because now they can do everything without leaving Google Apps. They can. There's a dial pad on the screen. They can make calls from your Gmail account, or just like on your smartphone, on your desktop, you can click a link, a phone number, and an email, or your contacts or calendar, and you place a call right there from your computer. You listen to your voicemails directly within Gmail. You could fax from Google Drive, text messages, or in Hangouts, scheduling conference calls, and more. It literally is just the most sweet integration. It's beautiful. Now, I want you to try all this. You also get high-def video meetings. The other thing that's great about Ring Central, because it's in the cloud, they can add features, and they do all the time. And you just get it automatically. You don't have to. There's no technician goes down with a shopping cart and puts stuff into the PBX. It's so great. We want you to try it free for 30 days. We installed it when we built the studios. 4 years in now. We love it. Call 800-543-9980 or go to ringcentral.com and use the offer code TWIT. And you could, here's the deal. 30 days free, and you're going to get, for every desk phone you buy, a second phone free, up to a total of 20 phones. So really, the whole setup is simple. ringcentral.com. It's the modern way.
You know, it's really what's happening to the entire world.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You know, so in every category, somebody is going and saying, okay, look, I can now untether.
Right.
I can use the cloud.
There's
I
the
can
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what we're doing at Personal Capital with money.
Right.
You know, it's no longer tellers, offices, branches, all that kind of thing. We're going from a world of physical distribution to a world of virtual distribution.
Which makes sense because money is just bits, really.
Exactly.
I mean, I bank with USAA. They don't have branches anywhere.
Right.
They don't need to.
You know what? USAA is I think, they're also an investor in my company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I believe that they are one of, if not the most impressive major financial institution in the country. And the reason is that they started virtual. For those of you who don't know,
they never had
USAA
branches.
is they do military. They work with the military.
That's another smart thing that they did, right?
Yeah.
You had to be a commissioned officer or a family member of a commissioned officer initially. I think they've changed that a little
You
bit.
don't have to be an officer, but you have to be in the military.
You had to be commissioned at the beginning.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. And that kind of was a pre-qualification, very high bar of pre-qualification. So when they were originally just kind of a credit union and stuff, it made it, an insurance, they had very good insurance rates because these people were high-functioning people. Now, of course, they made it much easier, and in fact, I think even if you're not in the military, you can open an account there and stuff like that. But that was a smart way to start. And they were always virtual, weren't they?
They were always virtual, and that's why they're so good.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. What if my friend Brian Moynihan, who runs Bank America, wow, I would not want that job.
Oh, my God. It's a real estate business.
It's a real estate business, and he's going to spend the next decade deconstructing not only brick and mortar and tech stacks, but even entire paradigms. USAA, on the other hand, has been virtual from the start.
And you see this happen all the time where these old kind of brick and mortar companies like Kodak struggle, try, but it's very difficult to deconstruct an existing business. It's like rebuilding the airplane in flight.
I was on the board of Earthlink, dial-up ISP. And of course, you know, when it went from dial-up to broadband, and the cable companies came in and everything, oh man, we were toasted. But we tried. We tried everything. We tried municipal Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We even did
I remember that.
We invented our own mobile carrier. Yeah. We tried everything, and we lost our shirts. What we should have done is realized, no, you know, what we are is dial-up ISP. We had $1.5 billion in revenue. We had hundreds of millions of dollars of annual free cash flow, and we should have just realized, you know, okay, our job is to maximize that cash flow. It's somebody else's job to ride the next wave.
Wow. It's hard for a business to say that, though.
It's hugely hard. And
you want to keep going.
And we didn't,
Yeah.
but we should have.
And then life forces you to
Life forces you.
not keep
I tell
going.
you what, you know the notion of product life cycle.
Yeah.
I am becoming increasingly convinced that the notion now is corporate life cycle. In other words, a corporation is built for a certain technology and paradigm and the rest of it.
I see that because you see what's happening to Microsoft, you see what's happening even to Google.
Exactly.
Is times change, and they change faster now than they ever have before.
And you don't have enough time to change an entire company.
Well, you see what Google's doing to try to survive. You know, they started as a search business that sold advertising against search, and that's still 99%, I'm sure, of their revenue. Even YouTube doesn't make them any money. But they're trying to find other businesses. They've got moonshots. They're trying to transition to the next thing. You don't think that's possible?
I think, by and large, no. I mean,
these are very smart guys.
Google's going to do a great job. They're going to have a fabulous future.
They're going to do the best job anybody could do.
But the basic point is that no, you build, particularly if you're successful, you build a DNA and you build a way of doing things and all the infrastructure and the existing people and the tech. And so it's really tough to make the revolution to the next game.
I mean, we see so many examples of that and so few counter examples.
I'll tell you where the counter examples come. The counter examples come when you have not a successful company, but a failing company.
Right.
Because if you're failing,
you got nothing to lose.
You got nothing to lose, and you have to go
pivot.
do it.
Yeah.
So, Apple,
yeah.
when Gil Amelio was there,
$100 million left. You know, they were about to go out of business.
They were on fumes.
Yeah.
Intel was originally a memory chip company. Right. The Japanese came, cut the legs out on the pricing, and they had no place to go. And they said, okay, Hail Mary to the x86 architecture. And
isn't that interesting?
Yeah. On the flip side, Intuit, where I was, when I was there in the late 90s, I was trying to move the company to we called it the server then, to the cloud, you know, go to the web. And
because Intuit was selling Quicken and QuickBooks, they were selling software.
Shrink wrap software.
Yeah.
Intuit was the best desktop financial software publisher in the world.
I used it religiously.
Right. Today, 2015, Intuit is the best desktop financial software publisher.
It's just a non-business. Microsoft got out of the business. It was like,
well, it's a great business. It's still a great business.
It's a legacy business at this point.
But the point is, really difficult to sort of recast your spots and be, you know, a cloud-based, service-oriented business.
And I think Intuit did everything it could, and probably did everything right.
They've done a great job. Yeah, they've had a couple of great CEOs.
Acquiring
They've done a great
smart.
job.
We use QuickBooks in the cloud, so that we're still using it. And it's interesting how many people I talk to who still have the paradigm in the mind, well, you get a computer and then you get Quicken on it, and that's how you manage your finances. Yeah. And the hardest part, I think, for Intuit is to teach people, no, that's actually not how you want to do it anymore. Right. But wait a minute, I have to get my bank statement and enter it in, don't I? No, you actually don't want to do that. You can actually trust the bank. Yeah. You don't have to refigure if their math is correct.
The bank actually has computers.
Yes. It took me a while to kind of get off that paradigm, but you get stuck in a paradigm, and it's hard for a user to. So I'm often telling people, they say, well, I need Quicken.
Well,
no,
actually,
you don't.
Actually, what you need today is personal capital.
Yeah. You need a cloud-based solution that just. There's budgeting in personal capital that does better than Quicken I ever was able to do in Quicken. Because I was never able to get the categories right.
So what we actually do on budgeting, we take a different approach. I don't think budgeting works. It's too complicated. People won't continue to do it. And by the way, nobody spends the same amount on clothing every month. Right. So what we do instead is cash flow.
Much
we
better.
go top down rather than bottom up. We say, okay, this month you spent more than you made or less than you made. Right. And if it was you spent more than you made, then uh-oh, you better take a look and see where it went.
Right.
And we give you one-click easy tools.
That's how business runs.
Yes.
It's sensible.
Yes.
Makes sense. Businesses don't have little envelopes with cash in them. Actually, maybe for the little expenses. So Elon Musk, how did PayPal? You were we're running out of time again. It's gonna have to do another.
Let's do it.
So,
Let's do it.
Elon, so you came out of business school. You ended up working at Time Inc.
Yeah.
How did you get to Time Inc.?
Well, I was editor of my school paper in high school, and so I was very much into publishing. And then so I got some summer jobs in colleges, at college with local magazines. And then, let's see.
So you thought that this was going to be your thing, was magazine publishing.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you got it?
Oh, God. I mean, so I got out.
Whoops.
I'll tell you when I get out. But at any rate, so I did a internship with Newsweek between years at business school, and then I went to Time Inc. after that.
Was Time preparing for a digital transition?
No.
They had no idea.
So it was 5 years at Time Inc. and then 5 years at U.S. News, a guy named Mort Zuckerman who had a lot of money from real estate. He's one of the Forbes 400 richest.
It's kind of like Jeff Bezos buying the Washington Post.
Yes.
It's kind of like Chris Hughes buying the New Republic.
Yes, only Mort Zuckerman knows what he's doing and did a damn good job.
There's the difference.
Yeah, and one of the good things he did was hire me to go help run his media stuff.
I love Mort because I used to watch, I still do it from time to time, the McLaughlin Group, and he was always very astute, very smart. He did not, it was clear this guy went well beyond just being a real estate developer.
Yeah.
He was a smart guy, very politically savvy, very interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
So it made sense for him to buy it.
So yes, he's been 25 years. I was out.
Is he still owned?
Yeah. So I was out at his place in Southampton this summer, and he says, "Yeah, I've been doing that for 25 years. Every weekend he flies down to D.C. to tape that show."
Wow.
Yeah.
He's great on it.
Oh, he's great. So I was also sitting out there. So he bought U.S. News, The Atlantic, the New York Daily News, Fast Company, a couple of others. So when he bought The Atlantic, this was years and years ago, but I was also out at his same place. And we're sitting on the patio, which looks out on the Atlantic Ocean, really gorgeous. And his neighbor had come by. And he wanted to sort of let the neighbor know that he'd bought The Atlantic Monthly.
That's pretty prestigious.
Yeah, and so he's got this Atlantic magazine sitting right on the credenza, you know, and he can't quite, get the thing. So finally he goes, I bought The Atlantic. And the neighbor looks at him and he says, "What a shame. I used to like to swim in it."
If Mort could buy The Atlantic, he might consider it. But in any event, he bought the magazine, not the ocean.
So anyway, we were talking about.
So what? PayPal. How did that happen?
Well, let me just finish with with Time Inc. Because 10 years, the 80s, I was in the media business, and the reason I got into tech was it just seemed like
you saw it coming.
Information and interactivity were on a collision course.
Yeah.
I wanted to be one of the, but nobody cared. Nobody in the media business cared.
I hear that story all the time.
Yeah.
There's always some people in there warning the company. The world's changing, but this is again an example. The DNA of the company is built around a certain business plan. And it's so hard to change that.
Yeah.
And well, Kodak's a good example. Even though they did go digital, the revenues weren't there.
Yeah.
They used to make so much money on printing and developing that they couldn't duplicate it.
They should have done like Earthlink. They should have just milked it.
Just said, it's over.
Yeah.
What's Sky Dayton doing nowadays?
Oh, Sky's got, oh man. So his wife just published a book, and it's a great book. He's still doing Boingo.
Boingo, that's right. Yeah.
And he's got like 100 ideas.
Boingo's a going enterprise.
Going very well.
Good.
Yeah. But at any rate, so this is how hard it is to make a change, even socially. So when I was in New York City, working on these magazines, and I told people, well, no, I'm going out. I'm going to join a company called Chipsoft, which made TurboTax.
Oh, yeah.
We later took it public and then merged with Intuit.
That's how you got into Intuit?
That's how I got into Intuit. Yeah. But on Madison Avenue, I tell my friends, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going to go do it. And they go, Jesus Christ,
You're crazy.
You're going where, San Diego? I said, is that even in Is that even in the United States? I said, yeah, it's on this side of the border. I said, okay, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, personal computer software.
Oh, Lord.
And in 1990, the personal computer was this little tinker toy.
Right.
And
it was a 386.
yeah, so they go, oh, Jesus. No.
It was a Pentium.
No, that's
No.
way long. You know, no, this was
1990,
this was a 286.
286.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The AT.
Right, the AT. And so they say, okay, you're going to do this silly thing. Okay, well, at least what kind of software? And I said, well, tax preparation software. And they said, oh my God, can you imagine anything more boring?
Yes.
However, I believe that at the time, and maybe even today, no, at the time, it was the highest and best example of the merging of interactivity and
Huge.
Information.
Huge.
We had twice as many tax analysts, domain experts, as we had coders.
Oh, interesting.
So it's really this information and interactivity coming together.
I used it probably the day it came out.
Good.
You know, and it saved my life. Fortunately, I don't have to do taxes anymore.
Oh, you don't pay your
No,
you
the
don't pay your
government
taxes?
says I don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, well, I'm
Or
glad.
something.
I think the feds are glad they got that on tape.
No, I have people who do that. But and when you have a business, you're doing it all every day. You're doing your taxes. So fortunately, I don't have to do that. But boy, it was a lifesaver. And I guarantee you, there's lots of people watching who say, "Thank goodness for computer tax preparation." Now you do it on the internet. You don't even have to download software. It's all on the website.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. So how did PayPal happen?
Well, PayPal. It's interesting. There's a whole bunch of things came together because so Elon Musk started a thing called X.com.
I don't remember that. X.com.
It was a bank, an online bank.
Oh.
And I joined him.
It was a little early on that one.
Well, yeah, maybe. But the main thing was we junked the bank and we went for the payment.
You pivoted.
We pivoted.
Yeah.
So he was chairman. I was CEO. And then
the insight was that money is really just computer data, right?
Sure.
You don't need a bill counter. You don't need a big edifice with columns because it's just computer data.
Right.
And even then, it was obvious. This is early 90s?
This was 1999.
99.
1999.
Okay. Oh,
just at
nice
the height,
timing.
the height of the bubble.
Good time to start a business.
Talk about timing. Listen to this. So we started in 99.
Oh, my God.
We put on 1 million customers in the first 6 months.
And that was doing payments.
Doing payments.
And I remember at the time even saying if they could ever figure out micropayments, this whole thing would work. But the problem is no bank wants to do 10 cents. But if you could do 10 cents, it would make sense.
It would make a lot of sense. It would make media things work.
There's a lot of stuff you want micropayments for. You're not selling a big boat. But banks don't want to touch that because it's,
The banks don't want to touch that. But PayPal actually was not really a micropayment service. It even wasn't, we called ourselves a person-to-person payment service, but it really wasn't that. It was an online auction payment service. This is how you paid on eBay.
It was for eBay.
It was for
eBay. It
eBay.
wasn't part of eBay yet.
It was not part of eBay yet.
But it was for eBay.
eBay had a competing thing called BillPoint.
Interesting.
But
you need it, but in a way that's micropayments because eBay, it could be $1 or $2.
Yeah, sometimes, but usually it was more like $50.
$50.
Yeah.
Still transactions that a lot of times people, But you were, so since you were like a credit, why didn't people just use credit cards?
Exactly. That's the question. Why didn't they? Because I'll tell you, the one thing about a payment network is remarkably difficult to start if there is already competition.
Right.
It's a naturally monopolistic environment because...
I've given you my information. I don't need anybody else.
That's right.
I'm invested in you.
Metcalfe's Law. You know Bob Metcalfe? Metcalfe's Law.
Ethernet.
Right. Metcalfe's Law. He said the value of a network is the square of the nodes. So exponentially, the more people or things are using a network, exponentially, the greater the power of the network is.
We sometimes call it the network effect.
Yes. And so it's almost impossible to start a new payment network.
Yeah.
What you have to do is find a greenfield. You have to find some place where the existing guys don't play. And that was eBay. Why? Because in the old model for credit cards, anybody could be a customer But if you wanted to be a merchant, you had to be a real business.
You had to get a merchant account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to be a real business, and they would come, you know, want to see your bylaws and everything else.
Yeah.
So the sellers on eBay couldn't take credit cards. And that gave us our opportunity.
Now, of course, they've made it easier to get merchant accounts, but it's too late.
Too late.
PayPal already there.
Right.
So what was Elon doing before he did this?
He did,
Was he always in finance?
no, he did a whole bunch of things, but immediately prior he did City something. It was an internet, I forget exactly.
Yeah. So it's interesting because in '99, everybody's saying the internet. It's the bubble. I mean,
all right.
valuations through the roof. It starts in '95 when Netscape goes public for a huge amount of money. Jim Barksdale goes, whoa! And for 4 or 5 years, it's like, get that IPO out the door, right?
Right. So we come along, late '99, the second half of '99 we started. We put on 1 million customers on in the first 6 months, going through the roof. But of course, it's all free. We're just giving it away.
You're not making any money.
We had zero revenue. And so on, and not only zero revenue.
A lot of costs.
We were losing $10 million.
A month.
A month.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
I know.
That's
well,
scary.
It was.
Wasn't that scary?
Hugely. So we raised March 28th of 2000, essentially 5 days before the whole thing came apart. We raised $125 million on $125 million pre, with zero revenue and losing $10 million a month. The only time in the history of the world that you could have done that.
Yeah, but whoever did it made a good play because they made money on PayPal.
It worked great.
It worked great. Who was that investor?
Oh, many.
So it was a bunch of people.
Yeah. But the lead investors, even prior to that, were Sequoia and Madison Dearborn.
Yeah, and they kind of made their reputation, I think.
Well, Sequoia's done many, but yes.
Yeah.
But the
and then the crash happens. And what happened to you? I mean, did
we eventually sold it to eBay?
Okay.
Yeah.
How did Peter Thiel get involved?
Well, okay, so there's X.com.
Yeah.
Which is Elon Musk and myself.
Right.
And there's Confinity, which is Peter Thiel and Max Levchin.
Okay.
Now, both of us were actually running down the same road at the same time.
Yeah.
We had about the same number of customers, about the same growth rates. We were just going like that. And remember, in a network business, what matters is scale. And not absolute scale, but relative scale. We wanted to be at least 5x anyone else.
And that's why you don't mind losing money initially.
Right.
You're making a bet, a big bet.
A big bet.
But if you can grow fast enough, you'll be worth it.
Right.
But there's another guy.
So there are these two people, it's side by side, and we said, okay, listen, the dynamics of this industry are such that we must combine.
There's going to be one winner.
We must combine.
Yeah.
And so we did. We put the two companies together. Now we had all four of us, Elon, Peter, Max, and myself, all four of us. None of us have an ego that would fit in a single room. And we were in the same little basement place. I mean, listen, it was brutal.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that.
It was brutal.
Because you probably all have somewhat different visions for where to go next.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. I was the old man.
Yeah.
These guys were younger than I, and they were much more pedal to the metal. I was going, wow, look at all this money we're losing.
Look at the run rate here.
You know, we both agreed on the strategy that we wanted to be at least 5x the competition, but we got to 10x the competition.
You only had, if you could raise $120 million, you only had a year's runway.
Exactly.
You had to turn that, either get more money, which gets harder and harder, I'm sure, or turn that.
Yeah.
Were you able to turn it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing was this. Originally, it was one of the reasons we lost so much money was because it was free, a free person-to-person payments network. We had to pay the credit card companies 3% to get the money in.
Right.
Because that's how we got the money in. And then we made no money on the way out. So for every dollar that ran through the system, we lost 3 cents.
You're supposed to do it the other way, by the way.
Well, then...
that's a point.
So,
you know,
yes. Oh,
I've learned that.
No, I appreciate that.
You want to take 3
cents. Where were you at the time?
But you were at this point saying that's worth it because we want to grow.
We want to grow, we want to get relative scale. So when we got relative scale, when we had 5, 10x the competition, when we owned this marketplace, we even beat eBay at its own game. And I'll tell you why in a second. But Then what you do is you say, okay, yes, it's still free. It's free for individuals, not for businesses.
Oh, there you go.
We charge 3% for business. Then we classified everybody who was a seller on eBay as a business. So now we're getting...
wasn't there a little kind of revolt when that happened?
No, because it was
3%.
it was only 3%, and it was such an essential thing.
Yeah, and you have to do it. And if you were using credit cards, you were going to be paying that much anyway.
Exactly.
So it's like the going rate.
Right. Then on the cost side, we were paying 3% on everything credit card coming in.
So now you're net zero. You're not making money.
Now we're net zero. So now we have to hit the cost side. On the cost side, what we do is we move the transactions from credit card to ACH through electronic check. And now
I know, because PayPal was always saying, "Why don't you open a checking account? Why are you just using your credit card? Wouldn't you like to have it go to your checking account?" Now I know why.
Now you know why. And so we got 50% of the transactions to go to electronic check.
I resisted that, by the way. I probably was one of your bad customers.
Yeah, you were. We would have cut you off if I'd been there. I would have, you know.
Was that one of the battles?
Well, the real battle was. So anyway, just on the economic, battle on the economic. So now we've taken, because half the transactions are going electronic check, which are essentially free.
Right. So now you're making 3% on those anyway.
Yes, exactly. So our blended cost is 1.5.
Great.
And we're making 3 on the way out. And now all of a sudden,
profit.
Now you've got billions of dollars running through the system, and it's a money machine.
Nice. Well done. We're talking with Bill Harris. He's the founder of Personal Capital. I will give you a plug, personalcapital.com. Take advantage of it. If you're not, you're really missing out. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, since we met, and I'm really thrilled with it. I want to find out what the battles were. Let's be a fly on the wall in the early days of PayPal in just a bit. But first, a word from, actually, another, again, so crowdfunding has become a great way to start a business, right?
Oh, it is.
And the folks at Smart Things, smart guys, said, you know, the problem with home automation is nothing talks to anything else. So they went to Kickstarter. They said, we want to build a hub, a home automation hub, that will become the interface between your smartphone, an app on your smartphone, and all your home automation stuff. And their funding went great. They raised the money, and they have built a fantastic business called Smart Things. SmartThings.com. You can find out all about it. It starts with the hub. That's where you use your iOS or your Android or your Windows. By the way, they have a Windows Phone app. Good for you guys. You can do things like tap good night on the app, and the Smart Things hub then turns the lights off, adjusts your thermostat, locks your doors, because Smart Things talks to so many, you know, the Nest thermostats, the Sonos speakers, the Hue lights, the Schlage locks. It talks to everything in there, and it's such a great idea. They also make their own little doohickeys. You see, in fact, if you look at the solution kits or the home security kit, you'll see they make a lot of little of their own little add-ons that make it easier. I hope they get more of those Smart Things makers thing, because that was an Arduino kit that was but it's sold out, of course, because it's such a great idea that let you kind of, the sky's the limit. But you know what? The sky's the limit anyway, because now there are so many components to this. Start with the energy saver kit, and you get the hub and the plugs, and you can automatically turn things off or turn things on. You can sense with another kit moisture. So, you know, the water detection kit will, you know, make sure that, you know, your vacation home the pipes haven't burst in the freezing weather. There's all sorts of things you can do. Welcome your kids home when they come in, because there's a little dongle in their backpack. Or if you see a stranger in the backyard, make the dogs bark through your Sonos system. It really is great. It's so fun to customize your home. There's sky's the limit. You can do almost anything. Smart Things, no wonder, was named Editor's Choice at CES this year, 2015. They really have created something incredible. It's seen its highest rated smart home system because it's so flexible and it works with so many other systems. I want you to try it right now. We've set up a deal that you get 10% off any home security or solution kit. Get that starter thing going here. You'll also get free shipping in the U.S. when you go to smartthings.com/twit. It's a great way to get going with Smart Things. Home security or solution kits, 10% off, plus free shipping in the U.S. Smartthings.com/twit. But do use the twit offer code at checkout so they know how you heard about it. And that way you'll get the 10% off. They've got so many fun little gadgets.
That is really cool.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah.
Have you done this? Have you automated your home?
No, but my son does the Arduino stuff, and
Isn't it neat?
And I'm going to get one of those. That would be so cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Because the hub is the key, because now the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Because there's all these different protocols and stuff. The hub is the translation. It's like the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
For smart homes.
No, we're going to get that.
Good. I love Bill Harris. I love just talking to him. Every time we talk, there's some other anecdote or lesson to be learned.
Speaking of lessons, there's one thing I want to mention before we end up
Does it
out
have
of
to do
time.
with personal capital?
No, it has to do with the financial services world. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teach me a lesson.
All right. So there's a difference between a broker and an advisor. A broker is
a salesman. Is a salesman.
That's right. That's what people have to remember. And they are paid to sell whatever makes them and their firm the most money.
It makes me sad because so many people use brokers to plan their investments, and you forget. All you have to do is watch Wolf of Wall Street, and you will know what a broker does.
Exactly.
And,
wasn't that a great movie? Oh, geez,
man.
I love that one.
And there's so many people, and we all live kind of in this hope that we're going to be able to make some money so we can live a good life and retire. And the broker, I don't want to say praise because I have family members who are brokers, but they prey on your hope.
They do. And there's good ones and bad ones, but nevertheless, they're salespeople. An advisor, a registered investment advisor, you're governed by the SEC, is a fiduciary, which means you have a legal obligation to put your client's interests first.
And they don't make more money if you buy one stock over the other.
That's correct. That's correct. You're working for the client. You're not working for the firm.
You pay them a fee, and they give you advice
that's good for you.
Right.
And that's, of course, what Personal Capital is. We're an advisor. But what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. is that the Obama administration, and working through the Labor Department, is trying to make some rules that would say that if you're going to do advice in a retirement account, either a 401k or an IRA, you must be a fiduciary.
Oh, that would be good.
It would be so good.
That would be good.
And let me tell you, the entire financial services industry is up in arms. And they are descending on Washington, D.C.
You're attacking their pocket.
With a passion, right. And so what we need is for everybody to send an email or do whatever and support the administration.
It's entirely appropriate.
Yes.
If somebody who's making money because you buy a particular stock, they shouldn't be advising you on your. They shouldn't be advising you any of your investments, but really critical not be advising you on your retirement.
If you went to a doctor,
critical.
If you went to a doctor and the doctor prescribed drugs, you would probably want those drugs to be prescribed because they're the good drugs for you, as opposed to they're the drugs that the doctor will make the most money on.
And this goes back to our conversation about the bright line between church and state, editorial and advertising.
Yeah.
More and more doctors are, wined and dined by drug, big pharma representatives.
Right.
Come on, you're going to prescribe our drug, and you just really don't want that.
No.
You want your advisor to be doing it because he's got your interest in mind. You want your doctor to be doing what's best for you medically. And I see, and this is, it's breaking down everywhere. I'm not sure why. I think partly what happens when there's a new industry like the information industry and the internet is rules get blurry. Things moving fast,
and it takes a while for think of the early days of television. In the early days of television, there was this
Uncle
blurring.
Milty's brought to you by Texaco.
Right, and it was the Texaco Hour, or it was the. And so it took a while for the notion of editorial independence and all the rest of that to form and take hold. I think the same thing will happen on the web.
I believe you're right, because I think people know that ultimately they know what their best interest is, and they're going to act to protect their best interests.
Right.
I hope you'll write to your member of Congress and protect your best interests there, and make sure that your doctor is prescribing because it's something you need. I do worry about it. I see, and advertisers always want this native content. They want you to do something that looks like it's real editorial, but it's not.
They want to fool you.
They want to trick. I always say this: if they're trying to trick, and they say, "Oh no," I've seen people from the New York Times even say this. Oh no, everybody knows that this is paid content. We're not trying to fool. But the reason the advertisers want it is because they know people don't know. They know it tricks people. And that you shouldn't be doing that.
You should be telling your story, but be clear about who you are and why you're telling it.
We try to do that here. I mean, look,
you do great.
We're ad-supported media. Yeah. I like doing that because it means I don't have to worry about copy protection. Anybody who wants this should be able to get it. I can put it everywhere. It's free. I don't have to charge people for it. But you need to support it somehow. You can't be a business without revenue. And I feel like I come from the same background as you do of ad-supported media, although magazines you have to pay for, but that's because there's a production cost. We kind of fold the production cost into the whole thing.
Right.
Actually, the model for internet broadcast is very similar to magazine model.
It is.
Every subscriber costs me money.
Yeah.
Just like a magazine. Magazines control circulation. They don't want to be infinite circulation. That means they spend a lot of money printing.
That's right.
We want to be infinite circulation, thanks to people like Bill. The more eyeballs that see us, the better it is.
This is what happened. The internet has completely upended the economics of publishing. And it's another example where the existing companies...
They're desperate.
They're desperate, and they can't really make the change because everything has been built on old paradigms.
Right. And display ads, full-page ads in a newspaper, right? You can't... What are you going to do that? How are you going to do that on the internet?
Right.
So... you were you saw this, fortunately you got out, but you think this is going to go back? I mean, I don't think Time Magazine, for instance, U.S. News and World Report are trying to preserve editorial integrity.
Yeah, no.
They're definitely fighting that fight.
Yeah, they do, and they do a very good job.
Yeah.
But it's just because they've learned that that's how it should be done, and there's certain, it's
well, you need
moral
the trust,
as well
it's
as...
It's moral, it's ethical, but you also need the trust of your audience. It's
That's
sensible.
That's right. And so I think that will come to the internet world as well.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Bill, it's such a pleasure. I don't ever have enough time with you. We took a little extra, and I thank you for doing that.
Let's do it again.
I appreciate it. Are you going to just go down to the airport, get in the plane, and drive home?
Yeah.
Where do you fly back to?
Palo Alto.
Oh, just a little hop.
Yeah.
Was that an hour? Half an hour?
Yeah. A little 45 minutes.
A lot better than driving in traffic, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah. Through the city?
Yeah. So are you going to do this hotel thing? You think?
Yes. Yes.
What else? You've got other ideas?
I'm going to get my daughter to help.
This is a business for her.
Yeah, because she's the civil engineer. Yeah.
I just think it's so cool that you can, and I think anybody can do this, but some people are more inclined to do it. I am not. You could just dream up something and say, okay, now we'll do this. But you've done it now. You kind of have the channels. You know what to do next.
So it's easier if you've had a couple of experiences like this. Then it's easier to break through the mental blocks of, oh well, that could never happen. I mean, look, what business do I have saying, oh, I'm going to build some new kind of hotel? I mean, in a different era, they would lock me up.
Right.
But
not
what
anymore.
the heck?
So what advice would you give our audience who's at home? And there's a lot of young people who have great ideas. People call me all the time. I have a great idea. What's the advice?
I don't know. But the one thing I'll say is, you asked earlier, don't do it for the money. I mean, if you're in it for the money, unfortunately, that's what's happening in Silicon Valley. There have been so many big hits that the people get obsessed with the money part.
Yeah.
And that's, first of all, not the fun part, but secondly, if that's really your objective, you probably won't be successful anyway.
Yeah.
Do it because you want to create something new.
Yeah. You want to be a creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Bill, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for coming by. Bill Harris, personalcapital.com. I'll give you a plug, personalcapital.com. Go there, sign up. You'd be crazy not to. And then go out and start a business. Do something exciting. Yeah. Be a creator. Don't be a consumer. That's what we're all about.
Be both.
Be both. Well, you have to consume, but don't just be a consumer.
Right.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. We do Triangulation every Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1800 UTC. Tune in and watch. I really like it when you're here live, but if you can't be, it's okay. We make on-demand versions available at twit.tv/TRI, youtube.com/triangulation. But the best way to get it helps us. Go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or any of the podcast clients on your phone or your tablet. Just make sure you get it every week. And this is one show you really do want to subscribe to because there's always a great conversation. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Triangulation.